All right, everybody, what is going on? Sorry, it's been a few days since I have actually recorded anything over here on the channel. I've been really tired. It's been really busy at work. I've got about 2 more weeks of hell, and then I'll be out. So, anyway, here we go. So we got EZA details last night for Janemba and Gogeta as part of a giant producer's letter. I think I'm going to go live here in a little bit and do maybe like, yeah, I don't know, just see if anybody shows up. And just gauge how people are feeling about all the news that they announced. Some really good stuff, like they're going to start doing pity on like all of the normal Dokkan Fest banners outside of the large celebrations. So that's going to be like your Pod Friezas, your Topos. Who else was like a normal Dokkan Fest this year? I can't think off the top of my head. But anyway, Rose, I guess, was another one. So they're going to be doing stuff like that for the rest of the year. And then the other big news is that we are getting EZAs for Super Janemba and Super Gogeta right here. Really great into the celebration right here. Janemba is on the Uncontrollable Power 200% led by Int Broly, and Gogeta is, of course, on the Trio team, and I believe they're on Kamehameha as well. So great buffs to the teams that they introduced. Janemba also being on movie bosses, obviously. So that's like the 4 leader skills of the celebration, right? Like movie heroes, Kamehameha, movie bosses, and Uncontrollable Power was kind of what we were going for. So these are going to be great additions to these teams. Really happy with their EZAs as well. Obviously, I've already read their details at this point because I do already have Calcs up. If you ever just want to not listen to me ramble and you just want to see this stuff, you know, before I even do the video, I do post them on Twitter before I go live. So you guys can go check out the Calcs here, follow me on Twitter, and check it out. So, but for those of you who actually care for what's going on in the explanations and you want to know what's, you know, what do these highlights mean, what's going on, that's why I have the explanation video to accompany it. So, translations here from Minato. I saw that there were a bunch of bum translations out there last night. Like, even some of the, like, Dokkan Wiki stuff is like, people are just, like, missing chunks of these guys' passives. So, Minato always does a very high-quality job, since the Dokkan Twitter has just been like, we're not posting them. We're synced, but actually, we're not posting those. That's a JP exclusive. And it's like, well, okay. I guess they don't want to put Minato out of a job, right? Like, they know that you guys follow Minato here for the translations. Like, how else do you think this guy got 28 followers? Like, making translations and kissing ass, right? So, anyway, let's go kiss some ass. So we're going to do Janemba first, just because I calced him first. And he's probably the easier of the two to understand what he's doing, because in terms of multiplicative buffs, he doesn't really have a whole lot going on. I mean, neither does Gogeta. Both of these units, honestly, they're pretty simple in terms of calculations. They're not like other units where it's like, oh, God, and I got to crack my knuckles as I'm doing like Excel formulas to like loop stuff around. So Janemba, here are the translations right here. Just focusing on the defensive parts of his kits right here. He gets 30% defense on his 12 key, 50% defense on his 18 key. In passive phase 1, otherwise known as start of turn, he's getting 166% defense. He builds up with attacking, so normals, supers, all that good stuff. He gets 66% attack and defense, up to 166%. So you'll need to do, I believe, 3 attacks in order to get this guy fully built up. Should be pretty easy because if you read his passive in here, they did give him some additionals. So I think this guy's going to be really easy to get built up. I won't go into his complete kit, but here's what you need to know. He's now unconditionally guarding, which is really good. He's got damage reduction. He's got damage reduction just kind of in different spots on the turn. He's still got his Ki Blast, Ki Blast nullification. He's got dodge in certain situations. Now, the dodge is pretty niche. It only activates after you receive a super attack, but it's still kind of nice to have, I guess. Just with some of these bosses these days, the normals are getting crazy. The fight's not out on global right now, but the Bulma boss does like 3 million damage normals or something like that. It's been a while since I calculated those, but yeah, Bulma does like insane normals. So maybe, you know, just having that extra dodge after there's a super attack. If they introduce like a boss, you know, during the 9th anniversary or in this celebration, maybe that does, because we're going to get a few more fights. But let's say like Gogeta does like a Kamehameha, right? Like if Janemba nullifies that, but then it makes Gogeta's normals like 5 million for the rest of the turn, right? Janemba's going to have dodge after that. So that's kind of what he's got going on in this kit. Again, just to recap his defense, 30% here, 50% here, 166% here, and then 166% here. This is passive phase 2, passive phase 1, and then the super attack effects. So that's all he's really got. He's got 3 buckets. Nothing else really crazy going on. And then his rage mode, of course, I didn't do defense calcs for this, but it's really good now. So he changes the entire field into physical key spheres, and He gets, like, you know, a huge attack on his first attack. He's guaranteed critting, a bunch of good stuff here. So, again, this doesn't really matter for defense calcs, though, but it's still just a good ability to have. Taking a look at his defense calcs right here, let me go ahead and explain what these 4 kind of boxes are. So, this top left box is kind of like a low-end Janemba, so I'm only calculating him with shocking speed, so this would be like on the Broly team. The only character with big bad bosses on the Broly team is Bio Broly, or Cell Max if you choose to run AGL Broly. But again, like Cell Max, you have to have another movie boss around, and the only one that you really want to run is AGL Broly, and I'd say probably Janemba pushes AGL Broly off the team, which means that you can just replace like Cell Max with, I know it sounds crazy, like it's not equivalent 1-to-1, but you could just replace Cell Max with the Super Easy A SDR Broly. So not really a big deal. But then if you do that, you know, you don't have any big bad bosses options unless you bring, like, you know, Bio Broly, which Bio Broly's good, but you're probably not going to be running a rotation of Janemba and Bio Broly. But I guess you could. No reason you couldn't. So that's what's going on in this first box. Over here, this is Janemba with all of his links activated, so all 40%. That's Metamorphosis, Big Bad Bosses, and Shocking Speed. Shocking Speed is 5%, Metamorphosis is 10, Big Bad Bosses is 25, 5 plus 25 is 30, plus 10 is 40, so that's where we're getting that number from. And then down here, this is Janemba with only 5% activated, but he also has 40% support at the start of turn. So that's what this line is right here. And then this final box is with all 40% from his links activated and 40% support at the start of turns. So just wanted to clear that up first. That's what these highlights mean. I wanted to kind of draw your attention to that is, you know, these are the different situations. So we got like 5% links, 40% links, 5%, 40%. And then up here, I did label it as with 40% support as well. So I try to do a decent job of labeling up here, but I don't want to make these columns like so long and so run on that's what's going on. So these guys should also be getting their own exclusive skill orbs because they're adding stages to the movie, the movie memorial or the memorable battles or whatever it's called. They're adding stages for Super Janemba and Gogeta to those. Typically, whenever they do that, they add special equipments with them. So these defense stats are likely going to go up even higher. If I went ahead and pulled up on here, let me just see what they added for... let's say, so if I go to items and I go to, where is it? Equipment. No, I clicked on Awakening Metals. No. Hang on. It's going to take a minute to load. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. But if I go to cards and I look at, say, I don't know, like Tech Broly right here. So this is what he got. He got an 800 defense and then some crit and additionals. What did Int Broly get? Okay, this is probably what they're going to get. If I had to guess, I think this is what they're going to give Janemba. So 800, 400, 600, so 1,800 extra defense potentially could come in from skill orbs. So you would just take this number right here, the 14,778, and you would add 1,800 to it if you wanted to kind of factor in those special skill orbs. And you can see how significantly that does impact the defense, you know. So it's not a, I mean, it's not like a gigantic amount, but it kind of is, right? You know, going from 988,000 at just after a double super to 1.1 million is, you know, decently significant there. So just something to keep in mind that I think on both of these units, I probably am going to recommend those skill orbs. Even though one of them is likely to be a crit skill orb and neither of them need crit, I would just say you could dump everything else in their hidden potential system into dodge and additional, and then you could just fill in like this for the defense. So I don't think their hidden potential systems are going to be that like important to these guys either. They're just pretty solid. Just don't go crit for them because they have a bunch of built-in crit. Like Janemba here does have, like he has guaranteed crits in his rage mode, and then he builds up to 66% chance to crit right here in this part of his passive. So don't really need to give him any more crit than that. So just dodge and additional, which is good. Anyway, back into the defense calcs right here. So we got the defense, multiply it by 5 for the leader skill, multiply that by 1.05 for the 5% in links. Again, there's an extra 1 right here. This is the easiest spot to explain it. We have to include an extra 1 in each of these calculations. I always get questions of why isn't this 400%? You know, like why aren't you just multiplying by 4 right here? If we only multiply by 4 right here, that would just be the boost that we get from the leader skill. That wouldn't be our defense with the leader skill included. Or like that wouldn't be our defense plus the leader skill buff, if that makes sense. So same thing here. If we were to just take this 73,940 and multiply it by 5%, we would get like 3,700 and something, right? But we don't we don't want just that, right? We don't want just the 3,000. Obviously, their defense isn't going down whenever you get the link activated. Their defense is going up, which is why you can see from here to here, it increases by the 5%, because that's what happens. So anyway, they get 166% at the start of turn. So again, 2.66 is what you multiply by there. And then you get another 166% after you're fully built up. You should be able to do that pretty easily on their first turn every time, unless the boss is just out of HP. So this is going to be pretty easy build up. And then at that point, this is what you're going to start seeing at the start of turn over turn. And then from there, it's pretty simple. He does get 50% defense on his 18-key super attack, and then you get 30% after that. You can do a maximum of 4 super attacks on your first turn. If we go back to Janemba right here, he does launch an additional attack. Has a great chance of becoming a super attack for 1 turn. So on your very first turn, you get an additional. And then if we go back over here again, he launches an additional attack. Has a great chance of becoming a super attack as a second or third attacker in the turn. And then you could do the hidden potential as well for a total of 4 attacks, because you have your first attack, your 70% chance on your first turn, your 70% chance in slot 2 or 3, and then your hidden potential is what you could do. So that's what Janemba's looking like. Again, I would probably recommend dodge first and then additional, or additional and then dodge. It doesn't really matter. Just try to balance between the two. You just don't need to go for crit. With him critting guaranteed in his rage mode, and with him getting a lot of crit in his passive, I just don't see really any benefit to going any more crit than what he's just got built in. So that's what we got going on with Janemba. Let me know if you guys have any questions. As you can see right here with support and with all of his links activated, he's going to be looking really crazy, especially because if you go back and read his kit, he's got like damage reduction and a bunch of crazy stuff built into his kit. So looking really good for Super Janemba right there. Going to be a great addition to these teams. Probably a top 10 unit overall in the game. I don't know. That's a really high bar at the moment. But I would probably like this guy over... I guess it comes down to like Cell Max and Jiren. Those are the 2 units that I had at 8 or like 9 and 10 on my last tier list. I would probably say I like Janemba more than like Cell Max, probably, maybe. I don't know, but Cell Max does have the target mechanic, but this Janemba doesn't have any restrictions. Like if you notice that about him, Janemba doesn't have super like a ton of teams, but just being able to use him anywhere you want with no restrictions is really valuable to me. And he's really good, and he's going to be that good across like every villain team. He's got a really good link set. I like that a lot about Janemba here. And he does have the rage mode, which can kind of be a team protector mechanic as well. So I like Janemba. I could definitely see myself putting him above Cell Max and Jiren personally. But let me know what you guys are thinking about Super Janemba. Let's go ahead and switch over to Gogeta. I'm sorry I'm yapping a lot in this video. You guys know how I am. I'm Mr. Yaps a lot. So Tech Gogeta and Goku and Vegeta Angel, and then into Gogeta is what they are. So they stack attack greatly and normally, and then they greatly raise defense. Again, that's the important thing here. We're focusing on defense. So that's a 50% raise on both of their super attack effects. They get 200% at the start of turn in passive phase 1. They get 50% when performing a super attack. That's passive phase 2. Yada, 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 yada. They get 50% attack and defense at the start of turn on their first appearance, or whenever HP is 70% or low. So this is to kind of help you out if you're unable to fuse with these guys because your HP is low. You still get the benefit of the 50% defense right here, so that, you know, you jump up from 200% to 50%. The intent is that you fuse with these guys as soon as you possibly can. But now, if you don't, you do get a little bit of extra damage reduction, and you get a little bit of extra attack and defense right here. So that's pretty solid. That's all they've got really going on. So let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit right here, and we can go ahead and take a look at Goku and Vegeta. Again, let me go ahead and explain the boxes. So this one right here is just Goku and Vegeta, just kind of vanilla, no support, anything like that. I only factored in prepared for battle for their links because I think that's going to be the most common. I believe they also have shocking speed and maybe the Saiyan lineage as well. But this should be fine. This should be what you see from them. So you can kind of see that their stats are maybe a little bit low in the Tech Gogeta form, but again, the prize is to get them into Gogeta. And again, I do think that we could see them get the 1800 defense from the skill orbs, which is going to jump their defense up quite a bit, as you can see. So and then additionals are also going to be pretty easy for them as well. And then over here is kind of in their juiced setup, where they're getting 191% support on the trio team. So that would be the 277% supports plus Bulma's is what we got calculating right here for the 191%, which is a good team build. It's a very easy team that you can run. They fit well on that team. You can put, you know, the trio in slot 1, this unit in slot 2, and it's going to be great. And then you can fuse into Gogeta. You can put this unit in slot 1. It's going to work really well. So I did actually want to get some some calcs in here on that team. And as you guys can see, of course, like they do for every unit, it really juices up their calculations. You know, you go from getting 780,000 defense on a double super attack. So now you're at 1.2 million after a double super attack with all of their extra support up. So just wanted to kind of point that out here to you guys and just show how valuable this unit, you know, the trio really is. There is an argument to be made for them to be the best unit in the game just because of situations like this where they make these units absolutely crazy. This unit also is on, you know, like movie heroes, that good stuff. So they're going to be on the 200% for the trio team. And they're just gonna, like, you know, they're gonna help activate their passive, right? It's not like other units where they're really good and they're good on the trio team, but like they don't activate the trio's passive, so you have to worry a little bit about the trio. This unit will just work flawlessly on that team, and they're going to be a great addition to it. With them being a rainbow orb changer as well, their rainbow orb changing is guaranteed now. So just very, very great unit here, obviously. With that level of defense, 60% damage reduction, rainbow orb changing, they're going to be looking really, really good. And then you do transform into Tech Gogeta, and this guy's like pretty much like maybe not the best unit in the game, but he's probably like 2 or 3, probably. So, heals 30% HP. He does get 50% defense on his 12 key, and then you get a stack of defense for 3 turns on your 18 key, which is really nice, because that means that you can kind of carry that stack over turn, and it's going to help boost your start of turn defense up a little bit. Just really nice ability right there. And then he's also greatly lowering attack and defense. Really good. Really love to see that. So the healing is nice. You just get a little bit of extra HP. You can only use this unit's fusion if you're above 70% HP, so it's gonna be a full heal. Not that it's gonna be that impactful though, because you already have to be pretty much at full HP to use it. Still, it's nice though if you're like right around that 70% mark. So now they just get 250% at the start of turn for free. They get 77% when performing a super attack. And so this is, again, where if you kind of compare this to their untransformed state, where they get 200% here and then 50% on super attack, now they get that extra 50% here if they fall below. So either way, you're still going to be at 250% at the start of turn. The only benefit that you get after you transform now is that this is going to go to 77%. In terms of raw defense. Now, they do have a lot of other stuff going on in their kit after they transform that make them better defensively, but I just wanted to kind of point out that it's like, it's not the end of the world now if you can't transform them, because they are still getting like the same raw defense numbers. Now, of course, this guy is insane. So now he's guaranteed critting, 40% damage reduction, rainbow orb changing, a bunch of orbs per rainbow, again, yada yada. You launch an additional super attack and guard guaranteed with a rainbow key sphere obtained. Absolutely insane, right? So you're getting 40% damage reduction with guard. That's just really, really powerful, guys. I mean, obviously, but, you know, insane. And then also a guaranteed super attack. And he's creating the rainbow orbs. That's the thing. You know, you're not reliant on anyone else. This guy will supply himself and the rest of the rotation, which is good. And then he also gets 40% damage reduction until attacking and a scouter for 5 turns. So 80% damage reduction with guard in slot 1 is pretty good. And then if you get hit by an ultra super attack after you ultra super attack, or I'm sorry, if you ultra super attack and then somebody hits you with an unarmed super attack, you get to nullify it, and then you get a high chance to dodge if you receive a super attack. So Gogeta, again, numbers maybe don't pop out that crazy right here. But overall, I mean, he's still looking really good. Let me just get all of the Gogeta ones on screen right here. So, same concept. It basically works the exact same as the previous calc, except for right here, you know, this 50% on super attack is going to carry over turn, which is why you can get a total 200% possible from your super attack effect, because this guy can only triple super. You can get the, you know, super attack, you get one from a rainbow orb, and then you could do the hidden potential as well, but that 18 key one is going to carry over onto your next turn, so you're going to start basically at this point on your next turn, and then you're going to grow from there. So fantastic units right here. Let me know what you guys think. Again, this is kind of the juiced setup, but I say juiced, but I mean, this is a realistic team build, so this is what they're going to be looking like in their kind of like optimal good scenario. And then this is what they'll look like on just kind of general other teams, right, where they're not getting just, you know, a rocket shot up their ass and to the moon. So Anyway, let me know what you guys think about Gogeta and Janemba. Obviously, they're very good. Let me know preliminary where you guys are thinking about ranking these guys. I kind of want to feel y'all's thoughts out. I think I am going to go ahead and stream after this, maybe for a little bit, maybe. It is already getting close to 8 o'clock, and I kind of got to go to bed because I got to go to work again tomorrow. But anyway, maybe I'll stream on Sunday afternoon. Maybe I'll do that. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, let me know what you're thinking about these guys, and I'll catch you all next time.